So welcome to this tutorial. This is day 2 of Python course. So basically in the previous tutorial we discussed about the basics of Python, that is about the syntax, how to use the print function and how to print hello world in Python, and about the basic data types like list, tuples, string and dictionaries, and about integer, complex and strings. Okay, so now we are going to now we are going into the concepts of some Python conditions and if statements, like condition checking or decision making. Then we have input method in Python. We have to discuss that also, if condition, else condition. And then we are going to discuss some problems in Python, we have to check whether a given number is even or odd, or we have to find the greatest of three. Similarly, we have loops in Python, and we are going to understand the basic loops that are used in Python, like for loops and while loops. And after that we will be doing some programs on loops. Okay, so first of all, from starting we start the decision making, that is the Python conditions and if statements. Okay, so first let me assign a value of num1. Let me take a variable uh, to discuss these conditions, like equals, not equal, and less than or greater than and equal to. Okay, so let me take some value like a equal to 10. So let me assign the value 10, that is an integer value, to a variable that is named a. Similarly, let me assign a value that is 20 with in a variable that is of integer type b. Okay, so first condition is like we have to check the equals to condition. So for that equals to condition, we have to utilize the if keyword. Okay, so if keyword, basically like in other languages like C or C++, this is like decision taking statement. Okay, so decision making statement. So in Python the same applies to Python also. So if, then same in brackets, or you can use brackets or not. If a equal to b, we have to use semicolon. We have to use the colon after the if conditions in Python, or any decision making conditions in Python. Okay, we have to print something like this, print yes. Okay, now we know that this will return me nothing, because a is not equal to 2, sorry, a is not equal to b. So let me run this. So it's returning me it's giving me nothing. Okay, now if I if I initiate the value of b with 10, then now it's giving me yes. So like equal to is the comparison operator which checks that the both LHS and RHS are equal to or not. Okay, similarly we have another that is not equals to. So like if I make this 11 and now I check if a not equal to b. So basically this statement returns me a boolean value that is either true or false. So boolean is like it will return true if the condition is true, it will return false if the condition is false. Now we know that a equal to 10 and b equal to 11, and we also know that a is not equal to 11. So in Python you can use this statement, this decision making statement, to check whether it is equal to or not equal to. So it will return me nothing, sorry, it will return me yes, because a is not equal to b. Similarly there is less than. So less than, if a is less than b, then it will return me yes. So we know that a is 10 and b is 11, so it will return me yes. So this is yes. Similarly, if a is greater than b, so let me take another variables like this. Okay, so let me take num1 equal to like 20, and num2 equal to like 30. Now I have to check if num2 is greater than num1. As we can see, it is greater than num1. So so let me print that yes. We can use format strings like this. Yes, num2, sorry, num2 is greater than num1. Okay, so num1. Okay, So num2 is greater than num1. So yes, 30 is greater than 20. So 30 is replaced by sorry, num2 is replaced by 30 and num1 is replaced by 20. Similarly, we have like greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, less than or less than. Okay, so we can have another statements like similarly we can have let me do this again. Okay, so like this, num2 is greater than or equal to. So it will check if it is greater than or if it is equal to, means bounded conditions. If num1 is equal to num2, then it will print the same statement. Or if num2 is greater than num1, then it will also, so like this. Suppose there is like num1 is also 30, then it will return me the same value. Okay. Now in the condition like num2 is greater than, strictly greater than, then it will return me nothing. Okay. So that's about the equal to, greater than, equal to. Similarly for less than or equal to, for less than or equal to, it will return me the print statement because both the values are equal. Now if for strictly less than, it will return me nothing because the statement is not true at all. Okay. So let us consider the next concept in Python, that is about the input method. So how you can take input from the user in Python. Like in C or C++, we are using some printf function to give output to the method, and scanf to take the input from the user. Okay, that are included in the stdio.h file, header file. So in Python there is not much concept about input method. We can do simply by using input method, predefined input method. So like num, suppose we have to take integer value from the user. So for that we have to store that in a variable, like in C or C++ we are using a scanf or cin, and then we are using a variable to store that value which was which user enter. So similarly in Python we can store the same value. So like num, or like entered value, something like this, entered value. Okay, then we have to use input method. So this is input method. So all the strings that you pass in this input method is basically the query which will be on the console screen. Okay, so like this, enter any number. Okay, enter any number. Okay, so if I run this, the console will ask me about the enter any number, so I can write any number like 10. Okay, so this is about input method. So basically when I enter the number, this will consider, input method will take the value in the form of a string. Like we can check that also, like we have discussed earlier about the type method. So in type method we can pass this entered value, entered values, entered value, and now we can check the type of the entered value. So suppose we pass 20, then it's showing me the class string. Okay, now we can change that input into integer value by using the concept of typecasting. Okay, so typecasting is, or type changing is basically how we can convert integer into a string. Okay, or any data type from one data type to another data type, like integer. So we put integer after the input method. Okay, then now if I check the type of the entered value, then it will be integer. Okay, so like this 10, so this will be integer, class integer. Now I can print the entered value also, entered value. Okay, so this will be like 10. So it is of class integer, and my entered value will hold the value of 10. Okay, so we can make a program like we discussed above about the condition. So like this, so num1 equal to like int input enter, sorry, enter number1. Okay, similarly we can take another input, that is int input enter number2. Okay, now we can print both numbers, so print num1 comma num2. Or we can also check the condition. So like if num1 is greater than or equal to num2, we have to print f, that is for f string, that is like num1 is greater than, that is another one, that is the num2. Okay, so num2, Now we can run this. Now we have to enter number one. Number one is like 40, and number two is like suppose this is like 30, 35. Okay. So if number first of all it will print num1 and num2, that is 40 and 45, and 40 is greater than 35. That's why it will print num1 is greater than num2, that is 40 is greater than 35. So this is about the input method and the conditions like equals to comparison operator. So basically there are six comparison operator: equal to, not equal to, less than, equal to, less than, greater than, and greater than equal to. So this is about the boolean. So they are basically based on the boolean value. If the conditions are true, it will return a true boolean value. If the conditions are false, then it will return false boolean value. Okay. So now like this input method is completed. Now we have to go through the if condition. So as we discussed earlier, if condition is basically like we have to pass the condition. Syntax is like we have to use the if keyword and we have to pass the conditions. If conditions are true, it will return me the value. It will return me the value or the statements inside the if block or indented in if block. So like this, so we can use the same num1 equal to 29, num2 num2 equal to like 30. Okay, so if num2 equal to num1, or we can use num2 is greater than num1. Okay, then we can print if a statement executed. If statement executed. Okay, so if statement executed, so the output will be if statement executed. Similarly, we have elif condition. So let us suppose that we have multiple condition checking. So for multiple condition checking, we have to use some other conditions or some other statement like if statements. We have elif statements for that purpose also. So let us check the elif condition. So elif is basically the next condition that we have to check. So before going to elif, let me first explain you about the else condition. So if is like it is a pair of if else. If else is like if the condition is true, then it's fine. Otherwise, we have to execute the next condition. So like this, we can copy this code and we can run that in else also. So if num2 is greater than num1, then we have to print the num1 else. Same syntax, we have to put the colon and we have to print like else statement executed. Okay, statement executed. Okay, so if num2 equal to, suppose I put here equal to, so we know that if condition is not true, then else will be there. So this will be like else statement executed. So similarly, so for two statements we can use it. For multiple decision checking, we can use the elif conditions like suppose num1 equal to num2. Okay, num1 equal to 10 and num2 equal to 20. Okay, like this. Now if num1 is greater than num2, then we have to print like num1 greater than num2, like this. Elif num2 greater than num1. Elif is like basically the conditions after the if condition. Suppose if condition is executed and it return me false, then we will check the elif condition, that is num2